Welcome back to the Getting Dressed podcast. My name is Anthony Bolognese.
And I'm Lena Leppa.
And today we are talking about capsule wardrobes for men and women. Hot takes on both sides. I am full of vinegar today. It's been a day. Let's get into it. Leah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly of capsule wardrobes.
Desire whiskey, but I don't have any, so we're just going to power through this in the most happy and fun and amusing, hopefully, way we can. But capsule wardrobes. First of all, Leah, can you define a capsule wardrobe for me?
Yeah, so a capsule wardrobe is really a minimalist wardrobe. It can range anywhere between 25 to 40-ish pieces that all mix and match with each other for the purpose of keeping your closet intentional, high quality, and purposeful when you're going into your wardrobe every day and just picking out something quickly, save you time, energy, and money.
Mm-hmm. Now, when I think of the capsule wardrobe, and I'm speaking as someone who used to be absolutely not familiar with like the hallmarks of fashion and the intentional purpose of buying fashion, when I think of the capsule wardrobe, I think of like solid white shirt, jeans, like a couple pairs of shoes, and various pieces to go along with that. Is that a fair assessment, or is that something that you think is a misconception?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. So oftentimes capsule wardrobes, both for men and women, constitute a lot of neutral colors. And so when you mentioned your basics like the plain white tees, maybe the button downs, the Oxfords, and the jeans, that's a pretty good constitution of what a capsule wardrobe can be, but it doesn't have to be limited to that. You can add color, you can add patterns, you can add accessories. But again, it's this minimalist idea of what your closet can look like to filter out all the other maybe mumble jumble of what clogs your closet up in your everyday life. Mm-hmm. So I would say the neutrals are really big today because you're seeing like these flimsy trousers, especially for women, loose fitting tops. Even like these box-like t-shirts are all really in right now, kind of that 90s again. Mm-hmm. So that's been really, really popular. But again, it doesn't have to be just neutrals if you don't want it to be.
Mm-hmm. So when you think of a capsule wardrobe for yourself, as a professional woman, mm-hmm. in the working world, what are like the top pieces you envision?
So if you're in business professional, because you really have to categorize this. If you're in business professional, I would say a couple of key pieces to think through are your classic, I would honestly say classic black dress. And I don't mean little black dress where you're just going to wear it to a wedding or going out almost like cocktail attire. I mean classic black dress is almost a conference dress. It's modest, it's tailored, it fits you really well, it's high quality. Another thing I would recommend is a really nice, probably custom fitting white Oxford button-down shirt. Couple great pairs of trousers. Again, those can be colored, they can be neutrals, whatever you feel most comfortable in. And then depending on the person, I would recommend a couple great pairs of heels, black, neutrals, navies work really well with almost any outfit. And then, if you wanted to add a loafer, a flat, or anything like that for men, it could be a loafer. It also could be an Oxford wingtip shoe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you think of, I guess, where people are looking to buy these capsule pieces from, not just what pieces they are, but, diluting the industry with fast fashion, going all the way up to the like super, super high end labels, even for a t-shirt. Like, what do you feel is the kind of middle ground, bang for your buck level of that?
Great question. So I'm always going to honestly push people towards Nordstrom. The reason I say this is it's my favorite department store, but most importantly, they actually have a variety of brands ranging all the way from their, I would say, lower tier, lower cost items in, like their top shop up to the highest quality pieces that are going to be several $1,000s. So that is really generally great for a starting point for almost any customer because they offer so many different types of brands, so many different styles. And again, if you're looking for a variety of pieces when it comes to price point, it's going to offer a variety. So that's my favorite brand recommendation. But after that, I've actually steered away from recommending specific brands unless there's an actual question about a brand, because I realized that brands are different for every single person, meaning like the tastes and preferences are different, the style's different, the sizes are actually different. So when a person or a client asks me, like, what is one brand that you recommend for professional style or for casual style? It's really hard for me to point blank say this, because that actually might not be best for that client or for that person who asked me that. Does that answer the question though?
Yeah.
Is that how you're thinking about that?
Especially with regards to the fit, you're not going to recommend someone who should be shopping at Torrid to shop at like Express.
100%.
Because there's meant for different fit models. And that's the kind of bane of the off the rack model for a lot of these things. I mean, things that are meant to be a little bit more form fitting. Looser stuff you can kind of get away with, even with a slight bit of alteration. But off the rack, you really need to be shopping for your body type. Mm-hmm. And that's not exclusive to, the higher end stuff. It's anything.
Absolutely. And so let's talk price range really quick, since we're thinking about intentionality and cost as it relates to the capsule wardrobe. It really, I would say my general price range for any given piece other than maybe a basic t-shirt would be in that $50 to $200 range, other than, custom pieces, a nice dress, a really cool jacket or blazer, so that gives you a really nice span of, hey, I'm okay spending $160 on this great pair of jeans, but I know I'm going to get 5 to 10 years of wear out of them. Whereas if you didn't give yourself that ideal cost variation, or at least build that into your budget, then you're going to gravitate towards those fast fashion pieces and just run to Target and grab a $20 pair of jeans that are going to last you a season or two. Mm-hmm. And that's just not fair to yourself, and Target's just getting all of your money.
Yeah. As if they weren't already.
Let's be honest.
That's interesting though. That's something that I always kind of, in the custom clothing industry, that's something that I continually justify, for people who kind of have doubts about the price point, is the cost per wear thing. Jeans are a fantastic example, because you wear jeans. I mean, it's almost impossible to ruin a pair of like decent jeans, not even nice jeans, but even just decent denim.
Yeah. I think back to when I was a kid, crawling around in my jeans constantly had holes in them. Mm-hmm. And then one day I remember as a teenager, wow, my jeans no longer have holes in them.
Yeah. Well, one day we stopped crawling through logs, that's adulthood.
In a nutshell.
You don't even necessarily have to, using Nordstrom as the example, like you don't have to spend, a couple $100s on Brioni jeans. You can get something decent. I mean, Levi's, they're like the jean that everyone looks at, and you can get those for obviously like sub $100 pretty much everywhere.
100%.
You can get pre-worn stuff used. I mean, I hate to sound like the old man here, but like rather than buying something off the rack that is looks pre-worn, just get something pre-worn. Again, as long as you're not a germaphobe, that's a fine way to go.
And just put it in a hot wash and call it a day.
Yeah. Or do salvage and just never wash it for like 3 years until you finally decide that it's worth it, and then stain your entire bathtub. Not speaking from experience or anything. Whew, that's
none
a story.
Of the above.
But so I understand that you have a rather hot take regarding capsule wardrobes, because some of the biggest names in fashion stand by them as, whether it be the Marie Kondo closet minimalist sort of stuff, or just the lack of space in certain places. How do you feel about actually having one?
Yeah, so it's not the hottest of takes. I'd say it's a nice warm take. My biggest thing is that capsule wardrobes usually cater best to minimalist lifestyles. Mm-hmm. And because I don't have one, nor am I hoping to become a minimalist, it doesn't necessarily cater best to my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It may cater very well to some, and I will always encourage my clients who are aiming for that to get rid of a lot of stuff in their closet so it's no longer clogging that, and then build up a minimalist wardrobe. That being said, there are a few pros, which I've already mentioned, but just want to recap before I go down another road. 1, it is minimalist and it's intentional. 2, it's organized. 3, everything matches each other. And 4, it saves you time and money, like I mentioned. But there are definitely a couple cons. And again, this is one of the reasons, or a few big reasons that I don't actually have this in my wardrobe, is your clothes are limited at the end of the day. It could be a beautiful variety, but I like having a few more types of clothes in my closet than a minimalist lifestyle offers. Mm-hmm. Another thing is, in an ideal world, the capsule wardrobe will always cater to all 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. And if you think about that, it's going to be really, really difficult to do that with even up to 40 pieces. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be hard to adapt by season, especially if you're living in, kind of where we are in that Virginia, DC area in all 4 seasons. It's going to be even harder if you're in further up in the northern hemisphere. Another thing is that it doesn't reflect like changing life seasons. So outside of, summer, spring, fall, winter, people change jobs and they change lifestyles and they become moms and dads and they become CEOs, they get promotions in their job, and all of that are naturally our style should reflect who we are and how we change. And to me, the capsule wardrobe doesn't allow for too much flexibility in that. All of a sudden you need to change all of your minimalist wardrobe and get rid of what's no longer working. If you want to do that, great. And then finally for me, and I think this is the biggest thing, is that pieces start to feel old after a while. It's like, oh my gosh, I've been wearing the same clothes for an entire year. Like how am I supposed to keep doing this and still feel fresh and sparkly and pretty and whatever all those adjectives are that you want to use. So those are my initial takes on a capsule wardrobe. That being said, I do incorporate the concepts into working with my clients pretty frequently. And what I do is a concept called capsule wardrobe sets, which if you want to break it down further, if you're looking at your closet holistically, you kind of break it down into different sections. So you have, let's say, your professional section where you have to go out to work, your going out section where you're, going on date night, brunch, out with friends, movies, whatever. Then maybe your at home section or whatever else you have in your wardrobe. And so from there, I like to break it down into, well, let's create a mini version of this capsule wardrobe within each section. So at the very base level, this requires you to have 3 tops, 2 pairs of bottoms, could be jeans, could be skirts, whatever it looks like for you, and then 1 layering piece. So blazer, jean jacket, leather jacket, whatever. And those combinations can equal 12 different outfits. And so that's how I like to break it down. But again, that being said, I don't like an overall capsule wardrobe as it relates to the entirety of my closet.
Yeah, and I think that's smart. I think it's good to have that kind of as a base. It's helpful to see a piece that you like and know for sure that it will go with your base wardrobe, especially when you are going neutral. Like one of my favorite pieces that I have is a custom bold red overcoat, and it's only useful for
that one.
Yeah, it's great. And it's useful for obviously the colder months, but a lot of what I have in my wardrobe is pretty neutral. So really, no matter what I have on underneath it, I can get away with having that bold red overcoat on top because I can dress it up with a full suit or just a unbuttoned dress shirt and slacks, or I can dress it down with jeans. It's one of those pieces that always gets a compliment.
It's a statement piece.
Versatile. Yeah, and having statement pieces to build on top of your capsule, I think is an important thing.
Totally.
And that might also reflect my perspective just because I'm coming from the non-normal workforce, I think. Having the freedom to have pieces that are a little bit more off the wall and a little bit more of a conversation starter that may also not be, your cup of tea in general. You might like to stay with the traditional stuff. You might like to stay a little bit more neutral. But I'm a sucker, absolute sucker for bold statement pieces.
I am too. I used to wear red pants to job interviews so that everyone remembered me as the girl in the red pants. And listen, it worked. I usually got job offers, but not every single time. They just remembered me, and that was the important part. So I am totally in agreement with you. But you bring up a good point about color is, let's say you gravitate towards a more neutral color palette for your capsule wardrobe. That doesn't mean you can't add color. And a couple different ways that I would recommend adding color is, number one, determine the color palette that you generally want to stick with. You can find this on Pinterest, sometimes on Instagram, or even just Googling different color palettes and see what ones really spark your interest. And then determine if you want more of the color, the vibrancy, the patterns to be in the tops or more in the bottoms, because that's going to make it a lot easier to mix and match with different outfits when it comes down to actually pairing the pieces together. And then kind of the final piece of advice that I would recommend is, if you want to mix and match patterns specifically within your capsule wardrobe, make sure those patterns are of the same color palette. And so let's say you want to wear a blue and white polka dot top on the top. Your skirt or your bottom should also be a variation of blues and whites as well, even if it is a paisley pattern or a stripe pattern or whatever other pattern you might want to incorporate into your closet.
And another thing, this is going a little bit more into the weeds here, but deciding on the top half versus the bottom half being the one that you kind of highlight with a bolder pattern, that's also something that I think you should also take your body type into account. Some people have far longer legs than they do a torso, and some people have the opposite. So generally speaking, if you have a longer torso, you're probably going to want to try to extend your legs a little bit. If you have super long legs, then you might want to bring the tension a little bit higher. The patterns and colors are a great way to do that. Deciding,
Right.
On the long torso side, deciding like, hey, I'm going to wear a bold pair of pants, make them a little bit more high waisted, and that's going to be what kind of evens your frame out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. While still catering to your preferred style, your preferred colors to be wearing. So absolutely could create a nice symbiotic balance between the top half and the bottom half.
Yeah. Bringing it back to a point you made earlier about kind of feeling like you're outgrowing your wardrobe or changing with your own life, your style evolving with you. I like the idea of a capsule wardrobe, again, as basics, but being able to find those key pieces that reflect like the mood you're in at the time or the place in life you're in. If you're doing really well and you want to invest in something bold because you're feeling bold and powerful, like that's the time to do it. But if you're in a more muted time of your life, then maybe going back into that emo phase and like getting a lot of dark, neutrals and patterned blacks and stuff like that.
Dark academia.
I feel like we need to put like a picture of whatever you think the archetype of dark academia is. I would love to see that.
I don't know. Maybe not.
We'll see. That'll go on the Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, that's something that I definitely resonate with, because I definitely find myself, as I switch out like this time of year again, it's spring right now, and we're kind of flip-flopping between and going back in between the sweater wardrobe and the t-shirt and polo and lighter, thinner dress shirt wardrobe. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I'm just like, why did I ever wear that? Like, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Everyone has phases that they look back on. People in the 80s people look back at pictures of themselves in the 80s with their huge hair, and I'm sure they're like very, very concerned about what they were going through at the moment.
For sure.
But
me last year.
Yeah. Probably me with my current long hair. We'll see. This is the second iteration of that, but that's not a style thing. Well, not a clothing thing.
Well, also, really quickly to note here before we wrap things up, the arch enemy of a capsule wardrobe is not planning anything and just going haywire with buying any sort of pieces that fluctuate based on your mood and whatever you want to buy in that given time period. So it's like
intentionality is definitely important.
Exactly. No matter what wardrobe you have and how you want to approach that. And so it's like, oh, I bought this hot pink sequin jacket 2 months ago. And then I also bought this lime green dress because, the spirit was moving within me. And that is just not necessarily the most prudent idea either of cultivating a holistic wardrobe for your lifestyle.
And that also kind of combines with an earlier point about, the quality of what you're buying. If you are consistently, and I have a lot of issues with the fast fashion stuff, like both because of my industry and just because of the sustainability, that doesn't exist in that realm. And the fact that people are, using something for a season and then the neck looks all chewed up and it doesn't last. Buying things very intentionally and kind of discerning what's worth saving up for and making that purchase a little bit more important is definitely important. I think that's, the reason that fast fashion has become such a thing is because instant gratification is a part of who we are these days.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's worth it to recognize that, okay, that t-shirt that you got from like Express or J. Crew or something like that, maybe if you wear it for a season and it doesn't look new anymore, then that's something that should kind of alert that red flag to say, hey, next time I buy a solid shirt, maybe I'll wait to get something that's, made of wool or something that's at least from a manufacturer that's using pure Egyptian cotton, that has good build quality, that stands behind their product. There's a lot of different factors that kind of go into that.
Yeah, right. I mean, fun fact, for men at any given time, I think it's 12 to 15 changing styles over the course of the year. And for women, it's upwards of 20 plus over the course of a year. And so, of course, it's going to get exhausting both financially, but also from a sustainability standpoint to keep up with that, the changing trends and styles and body types, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, there's no way, that's not all going to be a reflection of your brand, nor is it going to be a good help for your closet. So completely agree with you. Like thinking about those things and how they actually tier up to your larger values, I think is really, really important as you think about not only, a capsule wardrobe, but also intentionally building out your holistic and bigger, beautiful wardrobe as well.
BBW, Big Beautiful Wardrobe.
That's my wardrobe. What a great name. I'm just kidding. Mine's pretty much minimalist right now because I'm getting rid of so much stuff, but I would eventually like to make it that again.
Yeah. Bringing everything back to having a capsule wardrobe, not being a slave to trends, but being willing to kind of adapt with those. Having a capsule base in your wardrobe allows you to kind of have those key elements that are timeless. Neutral colors are never going to go out of style completely. They might fade in lieu of those lime green dresses one day again. God, I hope not. But having those as the base.
The mid 2000s is staring right at us right now, and it's terrifying. So I don't know.
See if you can guess how old we are just based on these takes.
Please don't.
Did you have any other thoughts on the idea of a capsule wardrobe?
No, I think I hopefully summarized capsule wardrobes as best as I could. And I overall think they can be really good as a base. Like you said, I think they can be great for certain people, but overall I would not recommend them for everyone, including myself. I think the world is too big and beautiful. There are too many cool things to add to your wardrobe that can really be an awesome reflection of who you are to limit it just to a capsule wardrobe because you feel the need to have a capsule wardrobe. Not everyone will agree with that, and I'm perfectly okay with that. What about you? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, so I definitely let you take the helm on this one a little bit more aggressively because you cater to your client's entire wardrobe. I cater very specifically to my clients' business professional and business casual wardrobes. An issue that I see with a lot of the takes online, even Tan France has a take about only needing a black suit. I vehemently despise black suits.
Same.
You're not John Wick. You're not an Undertaker. Just don't do it.
Can we have an episode just on black suits? I feel like we'll have a lot of takes.
I need a lot of whiskey for that, but I'm
maybe
down.
That will be an at-home episode, a special.
Oh, yeah. Lockdown on purpose, though, to keep me from the general public at that
exactly.
point. But no, black suits, I personally am super against them. If you have enough funerals to go to in a year that it makes sense to have one, then sure. But generally speaking, they're so polarizing. You can do exactly the same with a charcoal suit as you can with a black suit. And a lot more, like wear it to work. My takes for the capsule wardrobe as it pertains to business casual and business professional, you definitely need a blazer. You definitely need at least, depending on your job and like what your work attire generally is, 3 to 5 suits in your wardrobe at all times.
Agreed.
Just to have at least not wear the same suit twice in a row in a week, if you do have to wear them. Ideally stuff that'll be able to mix and match very well. So, in the beginning, not stuff that's super, super bold and patterned. A solid navy, a solid charcoal, maybe a patterned blue of a lighter kind of color. And those are the 3 basic starting ones. You can, depending on your skin tone, you might be able to get into the olives or the browns and stuff like that. But that's something that you're going to have to kind of evaluate for yourself. And then a simple roster of a couple of dress shirts, royal or not navy, French blue, white, several whites, because they get gross if you look at them weird, especially in the summer. So having a decent roster of those, some with French cuffs, some without, and then various kind of simply patterned ones, maybe tiny paisleys, maybe tiny dots, herringbones, simple stripes in basic colors like blue and white, and then a couple pairs of chinos in various different colors, and then a couple pairs of more boldly colored dress pants, I think, something that can effectively create versatility in your suit wardrobe. So being able to wear, let's say if you get a plaid pair of pants, you can wear that with really any of the jackets on top. So it's a pretty simple sort of thing. And then as far as shoes, like you said earlier, loafers and Oxfords, you really only need maybe 2 or 3 to start with.
Those will look great with any of the pieces that you mentioned, even shorts.
And something that I've been peddling since I was selling them back in my retail job, oxblood colored shoes or burgundy of any kind. I remember talking about this. Yeah. That's like one of our longest standing conversations, because I think one of the first things that I wore around you was probably one of those pairs of shoes. And they're bold, they're fun, but they're also amazingly easy to pair. People don't necessarily kind of like a jewel tone. So yes, they match a lot. People don't necessarily think of burgundy as a super versatile color, but on the foot, very much so, because there's not a single suit color that you can put on top of a burgundy shoe that doesn't look good. And the same goes for, jeans, especially if it's kind of a more muted burgundy. If it's that like shiny, like kind of mirror finish patent oxblood look. It might be a little bit more dress formal, but kind of a simple burgundy leather, easy.
Yeah, and really beautiful too.
Black, burgundy, and a medium brown for shoes, and you're good to go. But that pretty much rounds out the male professional, business professional, and business casual capsule wardrobe.
Yeah.
For women, I do have a couple of questions for you about that, just because I am woefully, let's say, unprepared for the gamut of styles that it takes for women in their business casual and business professional. I'm familiar with the stuff as far as it pertains to suits, but as far as dress silhouettes and, camis and stuff like that, like I don't have a firm grasp on that line. So I'd love a quick little breakdown of that.
Yeah. So sticking with the same professionalism that you just outlined for men, I'll say that for women. So for blazers or outerwear, I would absolutely recommend probably having 2 to 3 blazers that you can mix and match with your other pieces in your wardrobe. That can include window pane. It can include solid colors, and they can be a variety of colors. I actually don't recommend, similar to what you just said, I don't recommend having a black blazer or a black suit, honestly. I don't recommend for a female to have a black suit. The navies, the olives, even a bold red or a hot pink can look really great depending on your skin tone, like you mentioned. The thing here to note is how the cut fits on you. So depending on your body shape, like you mentioned earlier, is going to dictate a lot. Like you might not be able to pull off the boyfriend type of blazer. It might be a little bit more feminine and cut closer to your hips. That's okay. But being aware of that is going to be really key when you pick out outerwear. A couple other things that I would recommend going down to that business casual level is a great leather jacket. It took me about 2 years to find a leather jacket that I really love. I really enjoy the classic look of the one that I have. Usually I would trend not towards too edgy if you're going to be wearing it in the office. Even if you're in a casual environment, you don't want to look like you just hopped off your Harley in the bar when you're actually in the office environment. But again, the leather jackets can be a variety of colors. It doesn't just have to be black. There's some really cool ones out there these days. And then a jean jacket. Jean jackets are so in. I know everyone has a different take about jean jackets, but I think overall they can look really great with dresses, with jeans, with chinos or trousers for women, with skirts. They can span the gamut. So that's outerwear. For tops, definitely, like I said, that white Oxford button down is going to be the most helpful for women in the professional setting. You can wear underdresses, you can wear it with skirts, you can wear it with trousers, you can wear all of those different color blazers I mentioned over it. So it's going to be really, really versatile. The key for this for women is making sure that it fits appropriately, especially in the bust area. For so many women, they struggle with having that gap in the bust, and nothing looks actually more unprofessional than when you have a gap in your bust. So just don't go down that road if that's not a top that you can find that fits you well, unless you're ready to buy custom. A few key blouses are going to be really helpful. So they could be t-shirt-like, they could be long sleeve, they could, have a cute little bow in the front or the back, and they could be a variety of colors and patterns. Again, the point being is to be able to match it well with your bottoms and match it really well with the blazers that you're wearing. And then for women, I actually don't recommend getting too many like cotton tees. I think they're generally really cheap for women. They don't really do us justice whatsoever. It's like, are you in 3rd grade? Are you in 9th grade wearing like Aerie or something? I really don't love cotton tees for women. But if you're going to go down the more casual road, even, upscale sweatshirts are in right now, and that you can wear them in a relatively casual or business casual setting if your bottoms are dressier. And then finally, for bottoms, I would recommend a great pair of jeans. Skinny jeans, honestly, are still in, even though flare is really in right now too. So skinny jeans, flare jeans. I am just loving Spanx jeans. Quick plug. Really, I make no money on that. I just love Spanx jeans. They could be white, they could be dark wash, they could be light wash, they could be black. But what I recommend is having 1 or 2 pairs of good blue jeans, a black jean, and then probably about 2 pairs of trousers or dress pants, chinos. Again, it could be a variety of colors. I don't necessarily recommend black because that's not going to go with everything else that I recommended. Could be dark browns, Stick to jewel tones if you're really confused about pants, like dark greens, navies, camels, burgundy or maroons. Those are really going to be your best friend in matching a variety of colors on tops. And then finally for shoes, I think I already mentioned this, but maybe 2 good basic pairs of heels. Could be black, could be neutral, skin tone, whatever your skin tone is. And then for me, I love a good bold pattern or color in my shoe. So could be a flat, could be a heel, or it could even be a tennis shoe. Anthony's judging. I'm literally wearing camel color leather heels right now, so they're not that bold.
I didn't pay attention when we walked in.
But I am wearing my jewel tones. Okay, so those are my basic recommendations. But for shoes, I think for women, it's going to vary a little bit more on comfort level and on preference within the professional settings. So overall, those are my basic recommendations for women in that general arena. One thing to note, and I don't think either of us mentioned this, is when you're thinking about capsule wardrobe, it doesn't include like swimwear, underwear, undergarments, things like that. So I don't want to get people too hung up on, oh my gosh, I have exactly 35 pieces in my wardrobe and now I have no underwear. And it's like, no. So, and at the end of the day, if you wanted to add a bold piece to your wardrobe, get a great bag, both for men and women. A satchel, a bag, messenger, a briefcase,
backpack. I mean, there's designer pretty much everything now.
Exactly.
I stand by Coach actually for a lot of like designer men's stuff.
It's beautiful.
I have a Coach messenger bag that I use anytime I need to bring my laptop anywhere. And it's an awesome accessory. Even duffel bags, even if you're just kind of taking a weekend trip or something like that, a nice quality leather duffel bag is actually not that expensive these days, because there are so many companies that are kind of making them in various different styles, and various different sizes as well. So accessories are a thing we didn't even touch here.
Right.
But I also don't think that necessarily is a part of a capsule. So accessories can be a whole episode, because there's a lot of takes, a lot of opportunity to expound on kind of the value that people find in their accessories and the room for expansion that I think a lot of people have. But it was fun. I'm glad that we kind of ran the whole gamut here with the capsule wardrobe idea. If you guys have any questions, feel free to follow us on Instagram at Getting Dressed Podcast. If you wanted to follow us individually, my handle is at Anthony Bolognese, Bolognese, like the pasta. Yes, I've heard it before. Don't bother. And Leah's is at Real District Style. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye. Bye, guys.